second inning of the Big A. Brady Anderson and Cal Ripken with first-inning home runs off Shigetoshi Hasegawa, staking fellow rookie Mike Johnson to an early lead. Here's Tim Salmon, cleanup man for the Angels. Got off to a slow start, but the last few weeks has been hitting better and starting to put up the kind of numbers that the Angels expect and that the Angels need in the middle of this lineup.
Salmon's good for his 25 to 30 home runs a year. When you get 550 to 600 at bats, his numbers are going to be there. He's starting to drive in runs now.
Pitch by Johnson, 1-2.
There's a 74-mile-an-hour. That's his changeup. And talking to Elrod Hendricks, the bullpen coach who has had him all season out there, he tells us that his changeup is about 10 to 12 miles an hour slower than his fastball, and he's got great arm speed on it, and that's the key to the changeup. He's got a nice delivery, good hip turn, good balance, breaks his hands in front of the body at the right time.
You know, one of the pivotal at-bats for Mike Johnson this year came last Friday night in relief. Again, this is his first start. He's facing Ken Griffey and throws 3 consecutive change-ups. Griffey swings and misses at all 3. And a lot of people on the Baltimore side said, hey, that showed us something.
Well, that does. Sometimes your first opportunity, you open up eyes right away. You see if he has any fear. And again, there's a changeup, 74 miles an hour.
4 up and 4 down for the Angels. Remember, they have scored 24 runs in their last 2 games. As we take a look at the Nextel Angels lineup tonight, we have already seen Salmon here this inning strike out against Johnson. Garrett Anderson due up next. Eddie Murray played in career game number 3,000 last night, just the 6th player in history to do that. Here's Anderson. Inside corner, strike 1, although Anderson didn't think so.
You know, and looking at our screen, too, when people see that 75 up there, that's not his fastball. That's his changeup. And you see it 86 to 87, that's the fastball. That's a tough pitch for a hitter to hit. When you're looking for a fastball and you get a changeup 10 miles slower.
Ground ball by the mound, and Roberto Alomar will make the play. 2 down.
Okay, we'll look at the Orioles defense. One of the better infields in the game, especially with Bordick now at shortstop, Cal Ripken over there at third base, even though he's made 7 errors. Still an outstanding defense. Alomar on the right side and Palmeiro. Let's check Cal out on this play, a bunt. He hasn't done this in a long time from third. Bare hand pickup. Outstanding accuracy. And here's Robbie Alomar. What he does best. A little backhand flip. Robbie, great range going left and right. There's a shot at Cal. And, of course, in the outfield, there's Robbie. In the outfield, we've got Surhoff, Brady Anderson, and Tarasco tonight in right field. Chris Hoyle's behind the plate. And youngster Mike Johnson on the mound.
Pretty solid team here. Orioles with the best record in the American League and a lead tonight. 2 outs, nobody on in the Angels second. Eddie Murray, the batter. Inside out swing and a grounder down to third. Bobbled by Ripken, and he still got him. Only, though, because Murray does not run well. 2 innings of work, and Mike Johnson has retired everybody he has seen so far. ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Kinko's, the new way to office. Back here in Anaheim, the Orioles 3 and the Angels nothing. A couple of home runs for Baltimore. Brady Anderson and Cal Ripken at the expense of Shigetoshi Hasegawa, who became the first Japanese-born player to win a game in the American League. He is 1-2 this year. The way things have started tonight, he will be hard-pressed to win his second. Here's one of the real nice stories of the 1997 season, and you can see alongside Jimmy Key what Eric Davis has done. 2 big additions. Eric Davis, who didn't play at all in 1995, relatively healthy, although he's got a hamstring problem, and putting up some great numbers.
Yeah, and he's played a great right field for him and stealing some bases as well, so he brings a lot to the Baltimore Ball Club, which Davey Johnson likes. He likes the versatile ball players. Some people say a little bit of National League style for Davey, but
Hasegawa recovers. Can he find it in time? He still does get Davis, who, as you can see, is bothered by that hamstring down the line.
Right. Little slider out over the plate and up, and Davis nails it. Unfortunately, hits off the pitcher's leg, doesn't get a base hit out of it, and Shigi should be all right. They're going to check him now, Shigetoshi Hasegawa, see if his leg's all right.
Now, you saw him some years ago when you were over in Japan doing a clinic?
Believe it or not, 5 years ago, I was over with the Orioles Blue Wave in what they call their post-training camp. After their major league season, everybody has to go to post-training camp, and Shiggy, I think that was his rookie year, was part of that. I was over there with Jim Colburn, who's ex-big league pitcher that actually pitched a no-hitter 1 year with Kansas City, and he looked very good. I might have been the rookie of the year that year, if I'm not mistaken. But
could you ever have envisioned then Hideo Nomo, Hasegawa, Hideki Irabu?
Well, at some point, I had the fortune myself of working with the Dodgers and Peter O'Malley, and I knew he was the owner of the Dodgers, very influential in international baseball. So I kind of saw it coming back in the mid-'80s. And to see these guys come over here and perform well, it's nice for international baseball and relations.
Hasegawa seems okay. He'll stay. One painful out for him here in the third. Orioles roughed him up in the first. And as Terry Collins has said, he's going to nibble. He's got to move it around. He's got to get the calls on the corners. He's got to change speeds. This is not an Irabu with a supposedly mid to high 90s fastball. Doesn't have the exaggerated emotion of Hideo Nomo, but he does have a bit of an unusual delivery still.
Yeah, they still have that pretty much that slow windup. That's just a Japanese style. Everything is very controlled. Little pause at the top with his hands, then the hip turn and the pitch.
Palmeiro looks over a couple, and it's 2-0. Palmeiro singling and scoring on the Ripken homer back in the first.
The first pitch Shiggy threw Palmeiro, there was a forkball. Then he came back with a fastball there.
Misses outside, pounds the glove, and he's behind 3-0.
We talked to Rafi before the ball game about how he faces a guy that he's never seen before, like Hasegawa. And Rafi personally likes to take some pitches and work the count a little bit before he gets locked in on him.
Locked in there. He's got himself a base hit up the middle. 2 for 2 for Palmeiro. Off a guy he's never seen. Not bad.
And his first at bat, Rafi got a base hit. He hit a 3-2 pitch in the first at bat, and now he's 2 for 2.
Cal Ripken heading to the plate. Back in the first inning on the first pitch he saw from Hasegawa. He left little doubt.
That's a fastball right down the middle in Cal's wheelhouse. And he didn't waste any time.
What a great offensive start to the season for Cal Ripken. Now 8 home runs, 33 RBIs, a .315 average. I guess moving to third base didn't hurt him at the plate at all.
I think it's actually helped him this year. Shortstop, you have a lot more responsibility, running the defense basically up the middle. Now he gets the pitches from Bordick. When he's playing third base, he listens to Bordick, what's coming, and he just tries to react over there at third base. Doesn't have to cover as much ground.
He pulls one into left, and he's 2 for 2. Anderson, Palmeiro, and Ripken are all 2 for 2 off Hasegawa.
And that pitch was just a little hanging slider right there. He doesn't have a lot of bite on his pitches right now. Everything is up. Just a little spin. That ball just spun. That's a slider right there. You can see from the side it was about thigh high, which is a good pitch for the hitter to hit. He's got to get down in the zone to get out of this inning and stay in this ball game. And they're getting the bullpen up right now. And Dennis Springer's getting the call, the knuckleballer.
And he's had some starts for this team, but in relief right now, getting loose. Here's B.J. Surhoff. Look at the numbers on him in the early going. And a ton of those numbers put up just in the last few days. He has 11 RBIs in his last 3 games.
And again, you saw that last pitch. That ball was called for a strike, but it was up. And if B.J. sees that thing again, he'll be all over it. He'll be jumping on that.
Been all over a lot of things the last few weeks. Runners at first and second as Hasegawa misses low.
B.J. works the count very well, strikes out very little. His strikeout to walk ratio is very good, 1-to-1, which is outstanding. He's going to put the ball in play, and he's developed some power the last couple of years, looking for pitches in certain situations that he can drive out of the ballpark. He's looking for location more the last couple of years.
Pulls it to right. Fair ball down into the corner. Palmeiro will score. Ripken rounding third and will be held as Surhoff puts the brakes on at second, and now they got him caught. He went too far around the bag expecting Ripken to go home, and now they've got a Ripken between third and home. They'll tag him out. And then they throw it into right field. And Surhoff will move down to third. Surhoff took all kinds of time getting back to second as if he thought the tag on Ripken was the third out or something.
Yeah, and what happened to start this play after the double is Surhoff overran the bag at second base and really ran Cal Ripken off the bag at third base. Here's what happened. There's a double down the line. The first runner, of course, is going to score. That's Palmeiro. Ripken coming around third. You watch the third base coach with the stop sign. Down the line, he did the right thing there, but B.J. Surhoff just overran second base, and they threw behind him to get the rundown started. Cal is out.
So a base running miscue by the Orioles cost them one runner, almost cost them another. But then the Angels helped make up for it partially by throwing the ball into the outfield and getting Surhoff down to third. Davy Johnson can only smile at that.
Yeah, and what happens as third base coach, you've got that lead runner. You know Palmeiro's going to score. You know it's going to be close with Ripken. Well, he did the right thing in running down the line and stopping the runner. Sam Perlaza did, the third base coach there. What you got to try to do is pick up the trail runner, which is really the runner's responsibility to know if the third base coach is stopping Cal Ripken or not. So that was really B.J.'s mistake. People may say it's a third base coach. Third base coach did his job. The runner's got to take some responsibility there.
He had held up Ripken long before Surhoff got caught between second and third. Here's Hoyles again. Now 4-0 for the Orioles. 2 outs, runner at third. Hoyles lined one deep to left his first time up.
And with one out there, it would have been one out. You don't want to take yourself out of a big inning with a base running mistake, and that's why Sammy Perlaza held up Ripken there. Hoyles is off to a pretty good start this year and a chance for a real big inning. Sam's a good third base coach, been around the league. As he said, every couple of years he seems to change teams like a lot of us, but they've been with Cincinnati and Lou Piniella, been over there in Seattle with Lou, and now Baltimore.
Hoyles will take a strike, 2-1. One more look at B.J. Surhoff, the double down the line into right. And then a little over ambitious rounding second. There's the sneak peek, but he gets caught.
And as a base runner, about 2/3 of the way down, which is 60 feet, is when you want to pick up your third base coach. So when you're running toward a base, the bases, of course, are 90 feet. 2/3 of the way down is when you pick up your third base coach to see what's happening.
The throwing error, by the way, charged to Dave Hollins as he threw it wildly into right field. And for Hollins, that's his 10th error of the season already.
And that's when Dave will make mistakes. Most of his errors, he's got good hands. Most of his errors are throwing. He's got an outstanding throwing arm, but he's never had a lot of accuracy. Kind of winds up when he throws. He's even been tried in right field before, Dave Hollins.
Orioles wants time. For a team like the Angels, their margin of error is a lot smaller than it is for the Orioles. They can't afford to be giving bases away.
That's right. But Dave, he's brought a lot to this ball club, Dave Hollins. What a gamer. He fights you to the end.
2-2. And a ground ball right side. Knocked down, but no play, and the runner will score. An infield single for Hoyles brings in Surhoff, and the Orioles have expanded their lead to 5-0.
Here's the pitch by Hasegawa. Again, you see it's up in the zone, and a ball that he can put in play, puts it right between the first baseman and the second baseman, Alicea, and there's just no chance. So the key is pitching down, pitching location, changing speeds, and Hasegawa's just not able to do it right now.
He's given up 5 runs on 8 hits through 2 2/3. As Tony Tarasco takes one high. Tarasco spent most of April in the minors, but then the Orioles have had a rash of injuries in the outfield. Jerome Walton's on the DL. Eric Davis has the hamstring problem. Pete Incaviglia's coming off a problem as Dennis Springer continues to warm down in the Anaheim pen. Jeffrey Hammonds has been plagued by injuries again. So Tarasco's been recalled and has found himself with a lot of playing time.
Came over from Montreal last year in a trade. with Sherman Obando, I believe. Carrasco's always had a lot of ability. He's got an outstanding throwing arm, a lot of speed, and has some power.
A lot of weapons for Davy Johnson, even when guys are trying to play their way through injuries. He's got a bit of a short bench. But still, he can bring guys like Hammonds and Cavilla off the bench with some pop.
I don't think you're going to see Hasegawa in this ballgame too much longer if he loses him here. He's got Springer up and ready in the bullpen, and Springer, as you mentioned, has been a starter, so he's able to go 6 or 7 innings if need be.
A disappointing night for Shigetoshi Hasegawa, to say the least, as the 3-0 pitch is skied to right. Green light for Tarasco. Salmon underneath it, and Hasegawa will get out of the inning. Whether he comes out again for the 4th remains to be seen. The Orioles with 2 more to lead 5-0.
Brewers A's in Oakland. Kyle Eldred, Jose Canseco. Oy. He had been 0 for 8 lifetime against him. That didn't last. That ball is gone. Next batter, Mark McGwire. Cal Eldred. Mission accomplished for McGwire. 13th on the year. That made it 4-zip. As you can see, it's now 6-zip. More on that in just a sec.
Wow, Canseco and McGwire heating up. You got some great duos. Canseco, McGwire, Bell, Thomas. Take the choice on Cleveland or Baltimore. Jose getting hot?
Jose likes the hot months.
Yeah, he does.
He likes the West Coast in the hot months, May and June, excuse me. End of May. 80 degrees.
Bottom of the 3rd inning here in Anaheim, and the Orioles with a commanding 5-0 lead. Luis Alicea, the second baseman, is the leadoff hitter for the Angels. And kind of ironic that Baltimore's got a 5-run lead for Mike Johnson as he makes his first major league start. In his 5 relief appearances as the mop-up guy for the Orioles, he never came into a game that was closer than 5 runs up or 5 runs down. Now he starts a game. Hey, I'm in a close game. Bang, bang, bang. He'll take the offense, but it's a blowout all of a sudden.
That's a nice way to break into the major leagues. And there's his curveball right there. We haven't seen too many of those tonight. We've seen all changeup, fastball, and does have a pretty nice overhand curveball that we were told before the game.
Ripken makes the play on the Alicea pop-up and foul ground. Seeing a little bit of everything from Johnson already.
Here it is right here. Good overhand curveball. Good sharp bite to it. Elrod Hendricks explained, he said it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling, and then the bottom falls out of it. So we're seeing pretty good stuff tonight from young Mike Johnson.
There's George Fabregas with his first at bat.
Changeup. Got a little movement going away from the left-hand hitter.
Fabregas not playing much, not hitting much, as you can see. In there tonight, Jim Leyritz, last night with a cramp in his groin, came out of the game after 3 innings and says he should be okay for tomorrow's game.
And as Jimmy told us, Leyritz, he said he'll be ready to pinch hit definitely tonight. He's done a nice job, Leyritz has, with the Angel Ball Club. Not only offensively, which we've seen before in the American League, but defensively, he's thrown out just about 50% of the runners. Going into last night's game, he was 9 for 19. I think he threw 1 runner out last night, 10 for 20, which is outstanding. Getting some help from his pitching staff, but he's been accurate and getting rid of the ball well.
Getting a chance to play more than he ever did in New York. Terry Collins putting him to work. Here's the 1-1 to Fabregas, and there's a bigger version of the curveball.
That's the big get it over curveball right there. That's not the put away curve. That's the curve you want to get over to get to 2 strikes. And the harder curve that bites in the dirt, that's the strikeout curve.
First time tonight he's really fallen behind. It's 3-1.
I have a feeling Jimmy Palmer has worked with him a little bit somewhere.
Well, he pitched last year at A-ball in the Blue Jay organization at Hagerstown, Maryland, and apparently kept quite a close eye on Mike Messina being in the vicinity of Baltimore. There's a walk, and he won't do that often. First base runner of the night for the Angels.
Yeah, his minor league numbers, walk ratio is outstanding. I think 150-some plus innings last year. He only walked about 30, 35 guys. And when your walk to strikeout ratio is 3 or 4 to 1 as far as strikeouts to walks, you're doing a good job. Which means he's only walking 1 to 2 men for 9 innings. And then when you do that, you're keeping your team in the ball game.
Now Gary DiSarcina, the shortstop and the number 9 hitter for the Angels. They have yet to pick up a hit off Johnson, trailing 5-0.
Whoa. And he's hitting location right now. You see the difference between Hasegawa and Johnson in this ball game. He's changing speeds and hitting his spots.
Boy, and if he has any nerves, his first major league start, he's sure not showing it. Might need some glasses, though, the way he's squinting in there at the catcher. 0-2.
Now, that was a little slider. We've been told he has a little cutter, a little slider. That was it right there. Different than his overhand curveball. So he has 4 pitches. That one he doesn't use very much, but just got the little breaker over. See if he tries a power curveball to go for the strikeout with DiSarcina, or with a fastball up and in. We'll see. Fastball up and in.
And hit to center field. Brady Anderson, though, is there. He's got it for out number 2. Let's go back to the studio and get an update from Carl Ravitch. Carl?
All right, Dan, talk about great home run hitting tandems. Here's another one for you. Matt Stairs, watch him wait on that curveball that just didn't break enough. So Stairs goes yard, and Kevin, you've seen this before. Twice in a game. Jose. Cal Eldred trying to get it by him. He can't. 26 multi-home run game for Canseco. Dan and Kevin?
Seen him hit a few home runs twice in one season, 3 in a game in Texas back in '94. When he gets locked in, he's very streaky.
He looks like he's having fun back in Oakland, too.
I think so. I talked to him in Arizona spring training. He's really having a lot of fun back there second time around.
2 outs here in the Anaheim third, and back to the top of the order for the first baseman, Darren Erstad. Fly ball to left his first time up. Erstad getting used to a new position at first. George Fabregas at first, the recipient of a walk, as Johnson misses up and in, and it's 2-0.
Erstad gives a lot of credit to Eddie Murray for helping him defensively, and of course Eddie wanted to make sure that he didn't have to go out there and play first, so he worked with Erstad a little bit about the nuances of playing that position.
Eddie still got a glove? Does he still bring a glove to the ballpark?
I don't think so. Just the batting gloves, maybe. What a great guy and a great ball player, obviously. Eddie Murray.
Game number 3,000 is seemingly every month or two. It's a new milestone. 500 homers, 3,000 hits.
You know, and Eddie hits down in the lineup now, 7th most of the time, or 6th, depending on the night and who's in there. But still a dangerous weapon in the bottom of that lineup.
Fabregas the lead. And there's a changeup from Johnson that drops low, 3-1.
You see when Johnson misses, he misses out of the zone down. And that's a good point right there for youngsters. Now 3-1, he's gonna want to throw a strike here. We'll see if he goes with his changeup. He has that much confidence in it. Erstad's a pretty good fastball hitter. We'll see if he wants to do that with a big lead or not. Good location, good fastball. 3-2. Does he throw the change now? That's been his pattern so far.
The word on the street, he'll throw it to anyone at any time in the count.
He got Erstad out in the first inning with a changeup.
Fabregas will get a head start on the bases here. And this ball's hammered to right. Darren Erstad got it all. And the Angels are on the board, trailing 5-2.
Well, there he went away from his pattern right there. A little bit of a surprise. He went with a fastball, 3-2. Got it up. Darren Erstad's a high fastball hitter and hit it out. So he got the hitter's count. He challenged the hitter in the hitter's count. And a good hitter like Darren Erstad beat him. Here's what happens when you miss up in the zone. You see the catcher sitting down and away. That ball's up in the zone. Erstad drops the head on it, hits it out.
The first hit of the night for the Angels is a doozy as Darren Erstad picks up his 3rd home run of the season, driving in Fabregas in front of him, and now sharing some thoughts with batting coach Rod Carew over the Angel dugout. Davey Johnson's lead has been cut to 3.
Davey's looking to see how far that one went. Been through it, I understand.
That was not a cheapie. Comes back with a breaking ball to Jim Edmonds and misses for ball 1.
The one thing about Terry Collins' club and the Angels, especially the last couple of nights against these White Sox, They've come back very well both nights. 13 runs, 7th inning 2 nights ago, down 5-2. So they're never out of it either.
And a 7-run inning last night. They'd been struggling offensively most of the season until the White Sox came to town, and the Angels blew them out. 24 runs in 2 nights.
They've added some real scrappy type players, fighters, Hollins, Leyritz, guys like that. Of course, Terry Collins himself was a little scrapper and a fighter. They've added some winners to go with the core of this club.
Fair ball down the line. And Edmonds is on his way to second. The Angels have come alive here.
Well, we knew Mike Johnson had to be human. Sitting up down the middle. This ball down and into him. Normally a pretty good pitch, but on a lefty it's not. If the ball's away, it's a good pitch. But he came down and in right into his swing, and he got the hit on it and got it down the line for the double.
Here's some of the numbers on Anaheim's offense this year. The runs per game about middle of the pack, but they don't have a lot of power, except for the last couple of nights, and they've shown some power here tonight. Second time through the order. Is that the difference for the Angels against Mike Johnson? They couldn't do anything first time through, but Erstad in his second look homers, Edmonds in his second look doubles, and now it's Hollins.
I think so. The first time around the lineup, Johnson established his changeup, which normally early in the ball game as a pitcher you establish your fastball and then go to the other pitches. He's established his changeup early. Second time around, he's going to the fastball, and he's getting beat on it right now. If it works, don't fix it.
He will not turn 22 until October. Has made 5 relief appearances, all in blowouts as we mentioned, but has earned 2 saves because he's gone 3 innings twice in those kinds of situations. Now Hollins hits one pretty squarely to right center field. Brady Anderson is back and will make the catch up against the wall, denying Hollins in his bid for extra bases. So Anderson helps out the youngster Johnson, who does give up a couple on the Darren Erstad home run. But because of this, it's just 2 runs and still 5-2 Baltimore. Welcome back to the Big A. The Angels on the board after the home run by Darren Erstad, closing the gap to 5-2, but that's not enough to keep Hasegawa in the game. 3 troublesome innings for him, and he's gone. And here's the knuckleballer Dennis Springer on in relief.
Yeah, Dennis hasn't had a lot of success right now. He's only had a start, and that was, what, May the 3rd? And in the minor leagues, of course, he's been a starter. So I had to run into him on the way in before the game. I said, you may be in here in the 3rd inning. And ironically, it's the 4th. So I didn't mean to put a bad omen on Hasegawa, but he just didn't have it tonight.
Hasegawa making his 4th start of the season. Obviously, Terry Collins hoping for better, but it was obvious early, as in 1 pitch into this game, that Hasegawa was not as sharp as he could have been. He gave up home runs to Brady Anderson and Cal Ripken, pitched from behind, left everything up in the strike zone, and the numbers reflect that. The 1 unearned run on the throwing error by Dave Hollins. Angels trying to get their rotation sorted out. They lost Mark Langston for a couple of weeks with elbow trouble. Mark Gubas is on the DL. Chuck Finley got a late start after getting hit in the face by a bat in spring training.
No matter what happens, I think it's a good move by Terry Collins to get Hasegawa out of there now. They've got a ball game. It's only a 3-run game now. Got a fresh start with a new pitcher, a different look. And there's a knuckleball.
Mike Bordick, the first to get a look at that different look. 0-1 on him. Bordick walked against Hasegawa back in the 2nd.
And not a lot of pressure right now on the long reliever, Dennis Springer. He's got nothing to lose. They need to maybe gain a starting job back by pitching well tonight. You never know.
64 on the 1st, 62 on the 2nd.
Terry Collins
jumps out in front of Bordick, 0-2.
Dennis Springer will throw more sliders and fastballs than a lot of knuckleball pitchers like Tim Wakefield. Tim Wakefield will throw 90-95% knuckleballs and just mix in his fastball sporadically. Dennis will throw maybe 60 to 70% knuckleballs.
Is there a right way and a wrong way, or just whatever
Just success.
works?
If you're getting them out, like I said, if it works, don't fix it. It's just worked for Dennis Springer. It got him to the big leagues. And he's actually, you know, last year against Boston, I remember he pitched a couple pretty good ball games.
Gone. Mike Bordick waves at it and strikes out for the first out of the fourth. Let's go back to what got it all going for the Orioles tonight. First pitch of the game by Shigetoshi Hasegawa. Brady Anderson was sitting fastball.
Right down the middle, just like batting practice, middle in, right into Brady's swing. And as you've mentioned, he's done that 12 or 13 times last year.
Yep.
And he continues it this year.
Second this year, 12 last year, 25 in his career. Getting a different look from Springer. He chops one down to first, and Erstad will make the play. 2 down.
See that speed, 63 miles an hour. That's a good gauge for a knuckleballer. That's about where Dennis Springer likes to be. If it's in between 60 to 65 miles an hour, he thinks he's throwing it at the right speed. Some guys like to throw it a little bit harder. A guy like Tim Wakefield likes to throw it slower in different counts. So even though they throw the knuckleball and it moves, they actually change speeds on the knuckleball as well.
I don't know if it's deceiving, though. I mean, 63, and sitting here looking at it, it looks like it takes a day and a half to
About
get to
30.
the plate. Yeah. But I bet you I couldn't throw 63 if I gave it everything I had.
How about left-handed?
I am left-handed.
Oh. No disrespect. I'm right-handed. I could throw a 30 left-handed.
Here's Alomar, 0 for 2 on the night.
And there's the fastball. You see the difference in speed, only 77 miles an hour. But when you're throwing 60 miles an hour, that acts as his changeup, that fastball. But he changes speeds by increasing it.
Alomar waits and sends one to left field. Garrett Anderson had a little trouble with it. Makes the catch, though, and Springer gets them in order. And it is the middle of the order, including Salmon and Anderson, some of the power guys coming up for the Angels. Beautiful night here in Southern California. The Orioles leading the Angels 5-2 at Anaheim Stadium. Dan Shulman and Kevin Kennedy with you. Shigetoshi Hasegawa is gone for Anaheim. Dennis Springer with a good first inning of work in relief. And Mike Johnson, who surrendered a home run to Darren Erstad in the third, finds himself in a somewhat tighter ball game right now. And remember, this is Johnson's first start, so you can't expect him to go out there and go 9 innings. But he's got a way of conserving his pitches. Maybe Davey Johnson hoping for 6, something like that from Johnson tonight.
A little slider right there, 77 miles an hour. You saw Ray Miller talking to Mike Johnson, in between innings, along with Chris Hoyles, and of course talking about the last inning where he gave up a couple of runs.
Ball's behind on Salmon, 3-0. That was one of the things Roberto Alomar said about Johnson before the game. Nobody's seen this guy yet. Yeah, he's got poise, and yeah, he's got command, but the next step to be a major leaguer is to adjust to them after they start adjusting to you. Once they start realizing what's coming, as Salmon may have there, as he ropes one into left, the base hit. Got some hockey action for you. The Stanley Cup playoffs, they're down to the Final Four, and everybody's been waiting on this one. The Red Wings and the Avalanche in a rematch of last year's playoff series tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Claude Lemieux, number 1 enemy of the Red Wings, 10 playoff goals already. And then Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, Saturday night at 7:30 Eastern. The defending Stanley Cup champs from Colorado taking on Detroit in what is sure to be a feisty series, to say the least. Leadoff man on for the Angels, and Garrett Anderson is the batter. Second time through this order, Mike Johnson not jumping out in front of guys like he did first time.
Right, he's gotten away a little bit from his changeup. Even the last out, last inning, was by Dave Hollins, and one of the wall was a changeup, and he got an out of it. Threw a fastball, he might have hit that ball out. Dave Hollins got a little bit off the end of the bat, so he's gotten behind Salmon 3-0 for the base hit. Terry Collins lets his guys play aggressively, lets his big hitters swing the bat. That's why you saw Tim Salmon swinging there 3-0. People may say, well, why did he make him take? The big hitters are paid to hit the ball out of the ballpark and do their job, and Salmon had a good rip, still got a base hit out of it. Davey Johnson.
Looks a little more concerned right now. Salmon at first, and Johnson will step off.
Well, you're always concerned as a major league manager. I mean, it really, especially in the American League. 3-run lead is nothing in the American League. That's something that Davey and I talked about before the game. The differences between the National League and the American League. National League, of course, you have the pitcher hitting. A lot of your number 8 hitters are not big hitters. In the American League, I've seen 8 and 9 hitters get 20 home runs.
On Fenway too. No lead is safe.
No lead is safe. 3 runs is nothing. That's for sure.
You've seen that enough.
Many times.
Well, we talked about first time through the order and second time through the order. First time through, the Angels were 0 for 8 against Mike Johnson. There was a walk-in. Second time through, guys getting their second look at him. 3 for 4, including a home run. And the one out, as you mentioned, was Holland's drive to the wall.
And that first time around the lineup, 6 of those outs were on changeups. And hitters make adjustments. Rod Carew on the bench, the Angels hitting instructor. These guys talk in between innings. That's what you talk about.
Runner goes. And Anderson drives one deep to right. And this one is gone. Another home run for the Angels. And all of a sudden, it's a 1-run game.
Johnson's getting that bullpen going right away now. We're not going to let this young pitcher Johnson fail too much in his first major league start. Take a look at the pitch right here. Catcher sets up down the middle. That ball's up, middle in. Garrett Anderson jumps on it. And again, that was his fastball. That's what he's getting hurt on.
Just the second of the season for Garrett Anderson. And the Angels back within 1 after trailing 5-0 early. And there's still nobody out here in the 4th. There he goes back to the changeup. Yeah, Murray's fooled on him.
Well, that's the key right now in this early part of the ballgame. He just got away from what he was doing well. And, of course, that's where Chris Hoyles and the staff has to help this young pitcher out. Even though the pitcher has the ball, that's where Chris Hoyles has to help him out in calling the ball game. And we got ourselves a ball game now.
Yeah, 5-4 in the 4th. Anderson enjoying his second home run of the season. 1-1 the count on Murray, who grounded out his first time. It takes one a little bit in for ball 2.
Now this is the count right here. It's a fastball count for a hitter, 2-1. We'll see if he goes to his changeup right here, which he got away from the last inning and a half here. There's the sign for the changeup by Hoyles, a wiggle, and it was. See that wiggle? The catcher wiggles his hand. That with nobody on base. That's the changeup sign. He's gotten Eddie out front twice, and we'll see if he comes back with it.
Sean Bosky down there, obscured from your view, is left-hander Arthur Rhodes. So a couple of relievers up in a hurry in a deep Baltimore pen, of which Johnson was a member until tonight, his first big league start. Eddie Murray into left field, not deep at all, and coming in to make the basket catch is Surhoff, one down.
And with the 2-2 count, he went back to fastball there, but made fastball away where Eddie didn't have anything on it, just to fling it out to left field and an easy out. Better sequence there that time on Eddie Murray by Johnson and Hoyles.
Started with a changeup, then went back to it to get the second strike. Here's Alicea, second baseman for the Angels, popped out in foul ground his first time up.
And Louis is an excellent fastball hitter. His one problem in the major leagues has been the changeup, the off-speed stuff. So that should be how they try to get Louis Alicea out.
You got the book on these guys, huh?
Well, I had Louis 2 years ago. He did a nice job for us a couple of years ago in Boston.
He has managed to bounce around, but to stay in the majors. And not only to stay, but to play. It's not like he's getting 100 at-bats a year. He manages to get in there 300-400 times a year.
Well, he's always gotten off to a slow start. And the knock on him was that he couldn't start every day. But when the trade was made in '95 in Boston, he got an opportunity to play every day and did very well. Hit 270, and we went to the playoffs.
Takes it high, 2 balls and a strike on Alicea.
Of course, Tony La Russa signed him last year with St. Louis and was on another playoff team. So Louis is used to winning as well, and many people forget that. And he's done a nice job since Velarde is basically out for the year at second base.
Right.
And it was a great pickup for him, for the Angels.
Johnson misses high with another fastball, and you can see the frustration as he spun on his heel as soon as he let that one go.
Yeah, he's staying up in his delivery now. You don't see him finishing his pitches, getting through the ball right now. And 3-1. This is the count. Louis hits very well. Hits the fastball very well here if he gets one.
One down. And took a pitch for strike two.
Not quite in the zone Louis wanted. A little bit fastball away. We'll see what he does right here. He does throw that changeup, as you mentioned, Dan, when he's behind the count. This is the time to do it, and this is the hitter to do it on.
Fly ball to left. Surhoff stays with it, makes another play. And I think BJ might have gotten confused about the number of outs out there. He's running in, head down. Well, the Anaheim offense against the White Sox, as Kevin mentioned, exploded. 24 runs in 2 nights against the Chicago pitching staff, and they've already got 4 runs tonight. That'll work, a .413 average. Terry Collins will take that. A 13-run inning 2 nights ago, and then a 7-run inning last night.
And they were up 8-3 at one point, and that almost wasn't enough to beat the White Sox as they won 8-7, but they had the winning run on base when Mike James closed it out last night and saved it.
2 down now in the 4th inning. 2 runs in on the Garrett Anderson homer, and George Fabregas is up. He walked and scored his first time.
I mean, you really do manage differently in the American League versus National League style because of the designated hitter.
A drive to center. Anderson walking over to make the catch, and Johnson gets out of it. Anderson homers. Eric Davis, Rafael Palmeiro, and Cal Ripken are coming up. Mike Johnson beside Mike Messina, and it appears as if Mike Johnson might be done for the night after giving up a couple of home runs and 4 runs overall. Angels have crept back within 1 of Baltimore after the Orioles led early 5-0 here at the Big A. And Baltimore's got the right part of the lineup up right now if they want to try and expand on that lead. Dennis Springer, his 2nd inning of work in place of starter Shigetoshi Hasegawa. Springer got the Orioles in order in the 4th, but now it's Davis, Palmeiro, and Ripken. And you'll see those kinds of swings against the knuckleball.
That was a little harder knuckleball there. You see 68 miles an hour versus 62, the first one. When you could change speeds in the knuckleball and have the movement it has, you're in trouble as a hitter. At least I was.
And Davis
57.
is here. Wow.
3 different speeds. Really good sequence right there and good change of speeds. And this is what Timmy Wakefield with Boston does extremely well. 2 strikes. Likes to throw that slow one, back it up, and he did. And Eric was way out in front.
You just can't wait long enough, can you?
That's a tough pitch to hit. The key to hitting the knuckleball is to get it, make sure it's up. You talk to guys like Palmeiro, King Griffey Jr. You want to make sure this ball stays up, and then you'll swing at it. Because if it's thigh high or so, it's going to break down.
Right. You see it at your eyes, it's still going to drop down here.
Exactly.
Palmeiro with a couple of hits.
And Rafi is not particularly fond of hitting knuckleball pitchers. These are not his favorite guys normally to hit. He's a good fastball hitter.
I've heard some people say that even though it's so slow and it looks so big and you're so tempted to hit it a mile, what you really should do is cut down your swing and try to go the other way.
Yeah, and that's the reason why Rafi doesn't like these types of guys, because they mess him up for a couple of days. Because they do throw so slow, they get him out in front. And Rafi's a full power hitter right now at this stage of his career.
You saw Palmeiro leading the charge among the middle 3 in the Oriole order, 5 for 6. There are managers, Cito Gaston of the Blue Jays is one, who will sit down a couple of his big hitters against a knuckleballer just so they don't get messed up for the next couple of days.
That's true, and you'll see a lot of switch hitters that'll actually hit right-handed off the knuckleball. First guy I could think of is Bobby Bonilla when he was with the Orioles, would hit right-handed when he saw knuckleball pitching.
Palmeiro's popped it up. Shallow right.
And the reason for that with these switch hitters is because they don't want to mess their left-handed swing up. And usually the right-handed hitter's a better high ball hitter, so when they see that high knuckleball, they feel they can put a better swing at it. Not all switch hitters, but some.
Springer's faced 5 and retired 5. Here's another hot hitter, though, in Cal Ripken, who homered and singled off Hasegawa, and up to 320.
Is he getting younger?
2,353 consecutive games. When he played the first game of the streak, Mike Johnson, the starter tonight for the Orioles, was 6 years old.
I was going to say he probably wasn't even born yet. I don't mean to age Cal that much, because he certainly plays at much younger.
Well, who knows? He might just keep doing it until his career ends. Maybe he winds up with about 3,000 games, stays healthy the rest of his career, and then just
I hope so.
calls it a day.
His father, Cal Ripken Sr., of course, when I signed with the Orioles, and I remember how tough his dad was as a catching instructor, turning that jugs machine up and having us block balls at 100 miles an hour. That's a true story. Believe me, Rick Dempsey will tell you. But he comes from such a great baseball background with his father, and of course Billy Ripken over in Texas now. He's from the old school. He learned from the old baseball guys. He came up the hard way, blue collar.
And isn't it great to see him get an extension with the Orioles?
Absolutely.
So you don't have to worry about him going somewhere else?
Well, he brings a lot more to the party than just what he does on the field.
He pops one back. He's fighting it, but he can't get it fair.
Now, if Dennis can get him into the late innings, then you come in with a guy like James throwing about 94 miles an hour of movement. That's the whole key in messing these hitters up, getting their timing off.
2 down, nobody on, and the 2-2 pitch to Ripken. Imagine when they get Percival back, if he's going 100, they can go from Springer to Percival.
Well, and ideally, that's the way this club was set up, with Mike James being the setup man, coming in the 7th inning, 8th inning, to get him to Percival, who throws close to 100 at times, 98, 99 when he's healthy.
Full count. Crowd wanted it, but Ripken wouldn't bite.
Pretty good pitch right there. Tough pitch to lay off of. But Cal Ripken's earned it, I guess. The benefit of the doubt.
Let's see if he comes back with another knuckler on 3-2. He did, and Ripken drives it high and deep to left.
Just jammed him a little bit right there, enough where he couldn't hit the ball out.
It stays in the park, and Dennis Springer's now given the Angels 2 good innings of relief. Got a bit of a slugfest going on here tonight. Each team with 2 home runs, and now both starters are gone. Mike Johnson gives it up after 4 innings, and the first man out of the Oriole bullpen tonight is right-hander Sean Bosky, who has made a couple of starts, but look at these numbers. You can see why he has been moved to the bullpen.
Veteran pitcher, not afraid to pitch inside, fastball, little slider, and uses a forkball as well. Actually won 12 games last year for the Anaheim Angels.
Final numbers on Mike Johnson. Not all that pretty. He was great through 2, and then just got away from the changeup, gave up a home run in the 3rd to Darren Erstad, and a home run in the 4th to Garrett Anderson.
65 pitches, 45 of those were in the 3rd and 4th inning for Mike Johnson. He kind of ran out of gas, and I think Davey Johnson is protecting him very well by getting him out right now. Can't really win the ball game. It's only gone 4 innings.
DiSarcina pulls one toward the corner and left. And B.J. Surha, for a guy who's played all over the diamond, makes some pretty nice plays out there in the outfield.
Well, B.J.'s played some third base, started as a catcher with the Brewers, and now left field. Great backhanded catch. Good athlete. Keeps his eye on the ball all the way. Knows where the fence is. key is getting a first step quickness is the key in the outfield.
Kind of a forgotten guy in the big scheme of things. You think of Palmeiro and Ripken and Alomar and Messina, and Surhoff slips in the cracks every now and again.
Very nice hitter to have hitting 6 in that lineup where he hits over 20 home runs a year ago. Right now he's 5th or 6th in the league in hitting. Always been a pretty good hitter. Just come into his own with Baltimore. He's in a winning situation. Each guy in that lineup protects each other.
Here's Darren Erstad, the leadoff man for the Angels. Homered his last time up and now rips a bullet foul down the right field line.
Rod Carew, the Angel hitting instructor, speaks extremely high of this guy, Darren Erstad. Thinks he's going to hit 25 to 30 home runs someday. Maybe not this year in the big leagues, but believes in his ability that much. When he swings, there's Rod right there. Rod does a good job, really studies. He has pregame meetings with these hitters every day. Goes over who they're going to face that day. Really does a great job in preparation and making adjustments. And he believes Darren Erstad is a guy that's going to be able to do that throughout his career. Should be a 300 hitter year in and year out.
Carew's got a lot of great young bats to work with here in Anaheim, from Erstad to Anderson to Salmon to Edmonds.
Got a great core. These guys were Angels. They were signed as Angels. And then they signed, as we mentioned earlier, guys like Hollins and Leyritz and Eddie Murray to complement the core of this Angel ball club.
Bosky made a pretty good pitch right there and didn't get the call. Now a 2-2 count, 1 out, nobody on in the Angel 5th. A 5-4 Baltimore lead. They led 5-0 early. Fouled off. Well, Erstad's not just a baseball player, and I'm sure everybody back home in Jamestown, North Dakota is watching. High school football, high school hockey, high school track. No baseball team in high school. So he did everything else and played some American Legion baseball. And I mentioned he's adjusting to a new position at first base. You don't think of a leadoff guy as a first baseman. He's a natural outfielder, but because of the 3 great young players they've got in the outfield, Erstad was the guy to move. Jammed him a bit, but he got enough of it to send it into center field, a base hit. Now, we talked about the West. How about the East in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Is this going to be a good series? The Rangers and the Flyers, game 1, Friday night at 7:30 Eastern, over on the Deuce. Gretzky and Messier on one side, Lindros on the other. What a rivalry between New York and Philadelphia. Tough to argue with the Final Four in the NHL this year. Now Jim Edmonds, the center fielder. 1 for 2 tonight. Breakout year for this guy back in '95. Like so many of the Angels, as Erstad dives back in, and they'll have to be aware of him. He is 7 for 7 this year.
A lot of Angel people feel he's capable of stealing 30 bases as well. So when you got a guy like Erstad that they think can hit 30 home runs, steal 30 bases, and hit 300, they've got a heck of a prospect there.
And the whole team is running. Look at the difference between last year and this year. It's even extended down to the minor leagues where they're running more. Edmonds, though, drives one left center field. Well hit and gone. And the Angels lead for the first time tonight.
That's what Davey Johnson's talking about. No lead is safe in this American League. He's finding out right now. 3 Angel home runs. 6 for Jim Edmonds. The pitch right here. Right down the middle. And he puts a good part of the bat on the ball, drives it to left center, opposite field home run for Jimmy Edmonds.
And you talked about the Angels not giving up. They have come back from leads now, from deficits, each of the last 3 nights. They trailed the White Sox both last night and 2 nights ago. Once 3-0, once 5-0. Won both of those games. Trailed 5-0 tonight. Now they lead again.
Well, they've added these people for a reason. They wanted some fighters, some scrappers.
Dave Hollins, fly ball to left. He's retired. 2 down.
Different attitude here they wanted, starting with their manager, Terry Collins, to wake up these guys and compete like they should. And they're battling. They're scrapping hard. They're a few games under 500, but they're still missing Mark Gubicza and Troy Percival. And they're not waiting for those guys to get back. They still believe they can win without them, but it's awful nice to have them when they do get in there.
Davey Johnson has seen his lead evaporate. Sean Bosky surrendering a home run to Jim Edmonds here in the 5th. Tim Salmon is the batter now. He's 1 for 2. Well, you don't want to bring up ancient history, Kevin, but did they have to get a new attitude? Because last year they were still showing signs from the collapse of the year before?
Well, I think in '95 they had a 10-game lead, and Marcel Latchman at the time, the manager, said that if we blow this lead, the manager should be fired. And tough statement to make. He's a good man and did a nice job, but they had to make a change. They made the change last year. Latch didn't really want to manage, and when the opportunity came this winter and Terry Collins was available, they wanted a fiery type presence in the clubhouse and on the field, and they got a National League type manager who likes to run. They're already stealing a lot more bases than a year ago, and look at those comeback wins. 10 of 16 have been coming back, and that's character in your clubhouse. That shows that you've got a coaching staff, number one, an organization that refuses to fail. You're going to fight till the end. If you get down 4 or 5 runs early, it doesn't mean the game's over. And Terry showed that tonight by taking Hasegawa out with a down only 3 runs and bringing in Springer. He shows confidence in his bench, in his bullpen, and allows his players to play.
There's a ground ball down to third off the bat of Salmon. Rifkin will throw him out, and the Angels are done, but not before they take the lead as Jim Edmonds takes Sean Bosky deep, and it's 6-5 Angels. ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Energizers. Still going. Long-lasting Energizer batteries keep going and going. And by the Delta Faucet Company. Delta, the faucet. Now, the situation has changed considerably here. The Angels with 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, and they lead. Both starters are gone. Shigetoshi Hasegawa for the Angels went 3. Mike Johnson for the Orioles went 4. Sean Bosky giving up a 2-run homer to Jim Edmonds. Davey Johnson looked home and cooled out with a 5-0 lead, but you were quite prophetic when you said that you and Davey were talking before the game that no lead is ever safe in this American League.
It's a different league. You can't give up outs early. You can't sacrifice bunt early like the National League. You got to play for big innings. You can still run and hit, but you're really not going to give up many outs. And if you make one error in the American League, it can turn into a big inning.
Here's B.J. Surha. The knuckleballer Springer starts him with a strike. B.J. tonight is 1 for 2 with an RBI double. He now has 12 RBIs in his last 4 games. Oh, you know, you can't wait any longer than that. You're still out in front.
And he's really changing speeds with it. Dennis Springer is very well. One pitch is 63, 64 miles an hour. Then the next one is 58 miles an hour with movement.
B.J. waits and sends it to center. He's on a base again. Now 2 for 3 on the night.
The pressure changes now for Dennis Springer. He becomes a guy now where he's got to hold a lead, a 1-run lead, getting into the latter half of the ball game. So it's a different role for him now from being a long man with no pressure, down a few runs. Now he's asked to hold a lead. We'll see how he responds to it.
He has done very well, as you can see so far. He had retired all 6 he had faced until that base hit by Surha.
This is where the mental part of the game comes in between the pitcher and the catcher. Different roles that pitchers have. People talk about roles. What's my role? What's my role? Well, the player dictates the role by how he performs in certain situations. That's what the manager decides how he's going to use it.
Right. And again, there's a trickle-down effect in this Angels bullpen because of the absence of Troy Percival, who's missed a month, although he could be back in a few days. But James has to move down a spot, and Holtz has to move down a spot, and it ends up affecting everybody pretty much.
That's an excellent point. Mike James is asked to close right now, and he really doesn't want to be the closer. He wants to be the setup man.
Did you notice if Fabregas switched gloves? Has he got a knuckleball glove in his arsenal? I don't know if he did.
I don't have binoculars up here, but I got to believe he's got a knuckleball glove. And usually the knuckleball pitcher carries it for him. There it is.
Because when they get traded, they've got to take the glove with them.
They've got to take the glove with them. You ask any knuckleballer, they carry a knuckleball catcher's glove with them. Which is just a bigger glove. There's really the way to catch a knuckleball, honestly, is a lot different than catching a normal fastball where you go to the ball and receive it. A knuckleball, you try to wait and keep your left hand back as deep into your body as you can because it's going to break at the last instant. That's how you catch a knuckleball. It's a lot different than catching a normal fastball.
1-1 the count on Hoyles. Surhoff the lead. How many knuckleballers did you catch?
In pro ball, not a lot, but we had a guy in high school, so I got broken in early.
That helps. What's a guy in high school doing throwing a knuckleball?
It means he had a very bad fastball.
Did he have a good knuckleball?
He had a good knuckleball.
Yeah.
He never got signed, but he had a very good knuckleball, especially for high school.
Hoyles 1 for 2, an infield hit and an RBI.
And really, that's how Dennis Springer got started in the Dodger organization. Signed out of Fresno State. Dennis threw the fastball and slider, and a little bit of knuckleball was his third pitch. The Dodgers asked him to go to instructional league and said the only way you're going to make it is to be a full-time knuckleball pitcher, and like Charlie Huff, and Dennis did that. Credit to Dennis Springer.
2-2. It's got to be tough, though. For one thing, I would imagine you have more trouble keeping runners at first because the pitch takes a lot longer to get there. And
right.
You're just not going to impress a scout as much as you would with a 90-plus fastball, no matter how much it dances.
Well, that's why guys like Charlie Huff, Tim Wakefield, another example we've talked about several times tonight, was a first baseman when the minor leagues with Pittsburgh. But everybody wants to fool around with a knuckleball on the sidelines, including Jose Canseco.
But that's another story.
That's another story we won't get into. We're long past that one. But it's kind of a fun pitch to try to throw. Everybody tries to throw one, and Dennis was able to do it.
Surhoff not going. One hopper down to third. And a great stop by Hollins, and the Angels turn it into a 5-4-3 double play. 2 outs in the inning. Let's go to Carl.
All right, Dan, you talk about American League ballparks. No lead is safe. Certainly the Kingdome, one of those places. Junior going deep and off the wall. Joey Cora gets hung up between third and home as the ball gets bobbled. Cora would ultimately be out at the plate. By the way, Jose Canseco fails in his effort to get 3 in a game.
Settles for the 2-homer game. Ken Griffey with a big night. The big guys are swinging the big bats here tonight. There's an awkward-looking swing by Tony Tarasco on a knuckleball. Tarasco 0 for 2 on a ground ball and a fly ball out. Orioles trailing 6-5. Better swing at that one. Tailing to left center. A diving try, but it's in there for extra bases for Tarasco, who is on his way to third. And will be in there without a throw. It was a great effort by Jim Edmonds in center field, but not much he could do about it.
We talked about the knuckleball. The thing you want to do is try to get the knuckleball up. That's when you swing at it if you can. And this pitch was up. Didn't break a whole lot. And Tarasco got a good swing on it. This ball's up right here. That's when the hitters want to swing at it. They look for it up in their eyes because they know it's going to break down into their swing. And Edmonds is a very good defensive outfielder. He always gives all out and good effort. And with 2 outs, you're allowed to do that because a base hit still has to drive the run in here.
So Tarasco, a 2-out triple. He represents the game's tying run. And it's up to Mike Bordick to try and tie things up here. And now I think they're going to go out and check on Edmonds to see if he hurt himself at all on that play. He's trying to wave them off. And succeeds.
Okay. Well, Jimmy Edmonds goes for the out, as I was talking about, because with 2 outs, he's got nothing to lose. If there's 1 out, maybe he doesn't make the dive. Maybe he keeps it to a double. But he goes all out for the play here and missed it. And they thought he maybe hurt his wrist or something on that play. He's had some wrist problems last year. Not sure right now what it is.
Yeah, he doesn't look completely right, but he did wave off the trainer and stay in the game. as Mike Bordick looks at a strike. Bordick tonight 0 for 1. He is also walked.
And with 2 outs, Dave Hollins is up even with the bag at third, looking for a possible bunt for the base hit to drive the run in. Bordick's going to try to use the field here, go the other way, but didn't. Get out in front. With 2 strikes, Hollins moves back. Now to take the full swing base hit away.
Tarasco down at third and Springer out in front 0-2. With a fastball, a blazer at 78 miles an hour.
And that's what it looks like, a blazer. Just that when you're seeing 57 to 60 miles an hour coming up there.
Well, it's the same with Mike Johnson and fastball changeup.
That's right.
It's the difference between the two.
Changing speeds and location, the whole key to pitching. And pitch selection, of course.
2-2. Springer's given Terry Collins a couple of good innings. Here in his 3rd inning of relief, has given up 2 hits, 1 erased on a double play, but then a triple for Tarasco leaves it up to Bordick to try and tie the game. Missed badly on that one, and it's a full count, and he does not want to walk Bordick and have to deal with Brady Anderson. Already a home run and a single in this game for Anderson.
And Brady's got the type of swing where he'll hit that knuckleball dropping right down into his swing. I've seen him do it many times for a home run. Not just on fastballs.
He'll get his shot.
And of course they have to hold the runner on, so he's going to have a hole on the right side to hit through as well, being left-handed here in an off-speed pitch. So they're really going to shift the defense right here. Alisea is way over in the hole at second base. Collins way off the bag at third. They're not even worrying about a bunt here from Brady. They'll give 1 run here to save 3. If Brady lays a bunt down, he's got a base hit and an RBI as well, but they're looking to save a 3-run home run here.
A strike. Brady Anderson hitting .348 on the season. Hit his 4th home run of the year tonight. Leads the American League in on-base percentage. And is doing all of it with a cracked rib.
Well, last year he played through an appendicitis attack.
Hit 50 homers. What an amazing story he was last year. April turned to May, and May turned to June, and everybody kept waiting for Brady Anderson to fall off the pace, but he didn't. He's hit Springer well.
Brady's a great fastball hitter, but as I mentioned, he also hits the off speed when it's down into his swing, and if Dennis gets that knuckleball where it breaks down and into him, he's in trouble. Got to keep the ball away from Brady. If you can get it to go away from him, it's a different story. You can roll him over.
Runners on the corners, and the 1-1.
He tried to do there.
Too far outside, though, and it's 2-1, and it's a restless bunch of Angel fans right now.
Now, Dennis threw the right location. They're sitting outside. That's where they got to pitch him. Just missed the outside corner there, but he's got to stay with that game plan. Brady does hit his power. Brady's power is really to right field here, so they want to try to keep him in the big part of the ballpark, getting the ball the other way if they can, or roll him over second base.
Well, there's nobody up in the Anaheim pen, so Brady and Alomar behind him should he get a chance to bat this inning. They are the responsibility of Dennis Springer in his 3rd inning of relief. He can go all night, of course, because of the knuckleball. Pitching with a 1-run lead. Missed away again, and now he's a pitch away from loading the bases for Roberto Alomar.
And he's got to go all the way, Dennis Springer does, with his knuckleball right here. You don't want to give Brady a fastball, a chance to hit the ball to the ballpark. You got to go with your best pitch, and that's his knuckleball right here.
Alomar waiting patiently. Anderson steps back in. The 3-1. big cut, and he fouled it off full count.
Through a 3-1. He's got to come right back with it again now, 3-2. Now, this ball was up a little bit. It had a little tail going away from him, just a little bit. Didn't come into a swing, just went away from him a little bit, just enough to foul it off. Now they've got the defense with the first baseman back with a full count and 2 outs. So at least they have the range on the right side now to take away the single through the hole.
Nobody at the bag covering. Springer just bluffing Bordick a little bit over at first.
That's a little hope and a prayer right there. Please don't let me have to throw this pitch to Brady. Maybe I can get Bordick. Worth a try.
Yeah. Now, though, he has to come to the plate.
And he did.
A fastball. And he got Brady to end the inning and keep the lead. Springer got into trouble and got right back out of it. And the Angels are still on top 6-5 here in the 6th inning after trailing 5-0 early. A lot of power in this game. 5 home runs in all. 3 by the Angels, 2 by the Orioles. 6-5 is the score. Both starters long gone. Orioles led 5-0 early. Anaheim trying to make it 3 wins in a row. And one of the home runs tonight came off the bat of this man, Garrett Anderson. Just his 2nd of the season, but you can't knock him because he's hitting .340. And at this point, he's really more of a line drive, find the gaps kind of hitter. But you think he's got a chance to develop more power?
Yeah, I think he will. I think when he learns himself even a little bit better, he's going to hit 20-plus home runs. He hit 12 last year, double figures the year before.
That's Garrett Anderson right there. A rope into left center. Big turn, but back to first.
And I think that's a credit to Rod Carew as well as Garrett Anderson, just to teach him how to hit first, go the other way, hitting a lot like Rod Carew did, and hit for power when you got the right pitch in the right location. That ball sinks away. Bosky actually makes a pretty decent pitch. Garrett stays on, it goes the other way. Garrett Anderson also hits left-handers actually better than right-handers, average-wise. So that's pretty good left fielder they've got there.
He's got 50 hits on the season, and this is the Angels' 36th game. He's on pace for 225 hits, which if he could do it about 15 times, 14 times, he'd be up in Eddie Murray country.
That's right.
Boy, you got a 3,000 hit guy on the team. You got a 3,000 hit guy as your hitting coach. You can't help but soak up some good information here. Anderson's got 4 steals, and remember the Angels under Terry Collins are running much more often and much more successfully than last year. Murray taps one to second. Alomar gets the lead runner and close to the first, but safe on the fielder's choice is Murray.
Yeah, Robbie Alomar is playing way over in the right side in the hole in the right position. Just a longer turn there with the long throw to shortstop. And Eddie still gets down the line well enough for a little bit older veteran player.
That's a nice way to put it. A little bit older veteran player.
Out of respect. I respect him, man. Just to be out there 3,000 games, let alone have the hits and home runs he has.
So now Murray at first with 1 out, and Luis Alicea is the batter. He's 0 for 2. Fastball strike from Bosky.
Eddie Murray won't get a big lead over there, but he kind of lulls you to sleep, and you better pay attention to Eddie. Seen him over the years, even the last couple of years, many times take off when the pitcher and catcher forget about him. He tried to do it last night and actually stopped halfway. So you can't forget about Eddie. And they don't.
Yep.
Of course, the Orioles know him as well as anybody. They know that. Davey Johnson knows that.
Yep. Eddie Murray in his 21st year in the big leagues, and in each of the first 20, he's driven in at least 75 runs. That pitch will skip away, and Murray easily up to second. Look at the numbers on Eddie Murray, leading active players in a bunch of categories. Eddie Murray made his debut the same day the Seattle Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays did. April 7th, 77. He's been around as long as those franchises have.
You can get 3,000 games in Stratomatic, let alone Major League Baseball.
Up to second, one out. Luis Alicea choking up on that bat, and he went around. Wished he hadn't, but he did.
Mentioned earlier, Louis likes to hit the fastball. That's a pitch that he can turn on. He'll surprise you once in a while. He'll hit one in the gap for a double, or got a little bit of home run power. Not real big in stature, but he can drive a fastball.
The 1-2. Slashes it foul.
Of course, right now he just needs a base hit.
Angels hung tough early, trailing 5-0. Have come back to take the lead. And they feel that with some of the new veterans they've acquired, along with the guys they already had, if they can just keep their heads above water until Percival gets back and Ubiza, they can be in this thing in the AL West. There goes Murray, and there's no throw. You talked about it.
Well, I've known Eddie a long time and managed against him several years and seen him do that. And now that changes the whole complexion right here with one out. It's a big play. Eddie has always been alert, always been an alert base runner, as well as everything else we've talked about, hitting naturally.
Forces the infield in as Alicea takes down and in. Now a fly ball can give the Angels another run, and the Orioles want to do anything they can on the infield to cut down Murray at the plate.
Yeah, in the 6th inning here, that's a big run. They can get that, make a 2-run lead here.
3-2. And he lost him. Bosky walks Alicea, maybe a little rattled by the Murray steal.
In this game, you cannot take anything for granted. That's you know, I've learned in the major leagues and in 22 years of Major League Baseball, you just can't take anybody or anything for granted. You tell your players that, and then a guy like Eddie Murray will show you why you don't take anything for granted. Now they've got an big inning potentially started here.
And that's it for Sean Bosky. He goes just 1 1/3, gives up 2 runs so far on a home run, and leaves 2 runners on base with just 1 out. Left-hander Arthur Rhodes making his way in to try and prevent the Angels from extending their lead. Welcome back to Anaheim. Dan Shulman, Kevin Kennedy with you. And of all things, an Eddie Murray steal of third has changed the complexion of this game.
Well, Eddie Murray's a guy you can't take for granted. That's why he's so valuable. He just does everything on the field, obviously with the bat, but now a stolen base. Created a big inning possibly for him right here.
Yeah, Davey Johnson forced to go to the bullpen again. Arthur Rhodes is on in relief. He's the 3rd pitcher of the night. We're seeing all kinds of different pitchers tonight. We've seen a knuckleball specialist. We've seen a changeup guy. Arthur Rhodes is going to bring the heat for the Orioles.
Well, Arthur has been a starter for him in previous years. Has an outstanding fastball, 94, 95 miles an hour. We'll find out what they're talking about tonight. Got a curveball, slider, and changeup. Give some credit to Steve Luber at the time, the AAA pitching coach for the Orioles, in helping him get his command back. Had a good year last year, and is a very valuable guy in his bullpen right now from the left side.
One of 3 lefties that Davey Johnson has. Jesse Orozco, Randy Myers, of course, the other ones. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Bottom of the 6th, Angels already leading 6-5. Fabregas, left-handed hitter, will stay and hit against Rhodes. Remember, Laritz came out of the game last night with a cramp in his groin and said he might be available to pinch hit, and you might think that if he could, he'd be in there right now.
Yeah, the only question is in the 6th inning, it might be a little bit early for him to pinch hit, because then he'd have to go in there and catch.
Right.
And probably not able to do that on that leg. So Terry Collins will probably save him for a 9th inning do-or-die type situation.
Fabregas on the season is just 3 for 36.
Well, they're concerned about Terry Collins possibly putting a hit-and-run play on right here. And with slow-running Fabregas in a double play situation, a guy that hasn't had a lot of at-bats, that's a real possibility. He is a contact hitter, does use the field, and will go the other way. And if Terry gets some motion here and makes some contact with Fabregas, he'll get a run.
Now there, Aliseo was breaking back to the bag as Rhodes delivered to the plate. He was fooled by the move.
That's the only thing. Will Aliseo be able to get a big enough jump where a ground ball will still enable him to get to second base off a left-handed pitcher? That's the whole key in deciding whether to run here or not. If he does run, I don't believe it'll be a straight steal. It'll be some kind of run and hit play that Terry will put on.
Eddie Murray down at third. Fielder's choice, wild pitch, and then a stolen base. Aliseo walked. And there's a token throw over by Rhodes. Not really a lot on it.
And Louis Aliseo is not a burner as far as straight stealing, but he will go depending on the situation and the count. Breaking ball counts, Terry will put him in motion, try to steal a base, stay out of the double play.
He's been good this year, 7 for 7, just like Erstad.
And that's a credit to Terry Collins, picking some counts for him. And instilling the aggressive style that they want.
Fabregas isn't getting cheated like that.
He's trying to get that ball in the air, not just for the sac fly. Looks like he's trying to hit a 3-run home run. Now he's in a defensive count where he's got to make contact. And Rhodes, of course, looking for a strikeout here. Probably go to a hard breaking ball to do that. You bring a left-hander in this situation like Davey Johnson did. He's telling you he wants a good breaking ball when you get to that count. That's usually why you bring the lefty in.
Ahead 0-2.
There it is. That's a slider right there, 81 miles an hour. Got it up. That's not where the location that he wanted it. You want it down and away and in the dirt, preferably. He still has a count in his favor to do that. Let's see if he goes to it again.
A little extra pressure on Chris Hoyles behind the plate, too, to keep it in front of him. There's already been one wild pitch this inning, and you got a base runner at third.
And what this does, just because the Angels do run now this year, takes a little bit of concentration away from what Rose has to do right here, throwing to the hitter. When you're a non-running team totally, there's no pressure on the pitcher or the catcher or the defense. They don't really worry about base runners, but now they have to be conscious of all base runners because of the style the Angels are playing this year.
Two and two now.
And what that does, as you mentioned, you know guys will run. You don't throw as many breaking balls as a catcher. You don't call as many in the dirt. It just changes the whole style. Your hitters get better fastball, more fastballs, better pitches to hit a lot of times.
More to speed than just tallying up the stolen bases.
Absolutely.
Rhodes aware of that. Fabregas trying to put something into play. He will not. He will strike out looking, and that's exactly what Davey Johnson wanted from Arthur Rhodes.
That fastball just paralyzed him right there. That goes on the inside corner. 90-mile-an-hour fastball just paralyzed him. Right there in the inside corner. Good pitch.
Two down now. And Rhodes can get out of it if he can get a Gary DiSarcina. The Anaheim shortstops 0 for 2 tonight, down to 240 on the year. Overthrew that fastball a little bit.
Terry had a big night last night. 3 doubles last night. Swinging the bat a little bit better.
You know, he's walked once all year.
That's a situation that I used to like to look at, the walk to strikeout ratio. That'll tell you right there how patient a guy is. If you see a guy only walking 15, 20, 25 times a year and striking out over 100, you've got some adjustments to make, and you can get your batting average up there and on-base percentage up there by being more selective.
What would go through your mind as a visiting manager, and now Rhodes is going to get a visit? When your pitcher throws over, steps off, and the fans start booing, did you care as a visiting manager if they started booing?
I didn't care if I really had a plan and a play on. If I put the play on, obviously I do it for a reason. Right here, I think Rhodes is just conscious of it. They probably told him to be aware of it. But I think right now with 2 outs, he's got to get, this is the guy he's got to get, Gary DiSarcina. No disrespect to DiSarcina, but you've got Erstad on deck and Jim Edmonds and the big guys coming up after that. So right now, you just got to concentrate on getting this guy out. They may not even throw through on a double steal attempt. Now is when you change your defensive thought.
Coming up Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports, it is the Visa Triple Crown Challenge. The Preakness Stakes from Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore, Maryland. The second jewel of the Triple Crown. Favorites include, of course, Kentucky Derby winner Silver Charm. Saturday at 4:30 Eastern on ABC. Back to the action here at the Big A in Anaheim. 2 on, 2 out. 1-0. Rhodes to DiSarcina. High fastball. 2-0.
I believe that's what Ray Miller told him right there. Go after this guy. This is a guy you got to get. If this guy gets on, you got a 300 hitter on deck that's able to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Still a close 1-run ball game. This is a guy you got to get right here. Go with your best stuff.
Same kind of thing we saw the other way when Bordick walked and Brady Anderson came up in a dangerous situation for the Orioles.
And that's what he's doing. Now he's being more aggressive. He's not as worried about Alicea. Last 2 pitches, and that's what Ray Miller told him. I'm sure of it.
DiSarcina picked that up and started sitting on fastballs a little bit.
You've got to look fastball either way off Arthur Rhodes because he throws so hard, and if you can adjust the breaking ball, fine. That's what Fabregas did not do. He got fooled. He was looking for breaking ball and got paralyzed on a good 90-mile-an-hour fastball. 2 strikes, you just got to look for the ball and make contact.
The 2-1. Another fastball, but he's way out of the strike zone.
And of course, excuse me, you know the pitcher's strength. He's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, left-hander, good hard slider as well, but he's going to his fastball. That's his out pitch. So that's the pitch you got to look for. It's all knowing who the opposition is and then knowing your own players, of course.
Runner goes and then zips back to first, and it's a full count on DiSarcina as Alicea got going, put the brakes on.
And now 3-2 with 2 outs. They don't have to worry about it. They got to get the hitter right here now. Alicea is going to run anyway. Palmeiro's playing a little bit behind him at first base.
Caught at first by Palmeiro, and he's only there because he is playing behind the runner. If he's holding him on, that's a base hit.
Exactly. 3-2 changed the whole complexion of that bat in that inning.
Nice D by Palmeiro. DiSarcina robbed of a hit and an RBI. And the Angels, as a result, still have just a 1-run lead. The Angels hanging on to a 1-run lead as this game moves to the 7th here in Anaheim. Roberto Alomar leading off the 7th for the Orioles. This is the 4th inning of work for the knuckleballer Dennis Springer. Alomar denied 0 for 3, including a fly ball to left off Springer. Waiting and taking a strike. It's 1-1. Still favoring that sprained left ankle a little bit as he pulls one out to second. Alicea knocks it down, recovers and throws one down. Time now for a pitching summary brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paint and Wallpaper Stores. The 2 starters are long gone. Mike Johnson's first major league start looked great for 2 innings and not so great in the next 2. And Shigetoshi Hasegawa just never had his good stuff tonight. Dennis Springer's had his good stuff. That's just what Terry Collins wanted after Hasegawa struggled so badly. Here's Eric Davis, who looked very uncomfortable, Kevin, against the knuckleball last time up.
Yeah, I don't think Eric likes the knuckleball either. A little bit like Rafi. And nobody really does. You don't see enough of them over the course of the season.
Ooh. That had to be one of the slowest ones yet.
And then when you can mix a 78-mile-an-hour fastball and get Brady Anderson on a 3-2, who was looking for the knuckleball, which is what you have to do as a hitter, because he's throwing 75-80% knuckleballs, it makes it tough.
Wow. Eric Davis, not close. Let's go back to Carl.
All right, we'll pay off the Brewers and A's. Matt Stairs already with one. Make it two. McGuire hits one. Canseco also goes deep twice. 5 home runs. They score 7 runs. They take care of the Brewers 7-4.
Instead of a dynamic duo, a terrific trio there for the A's.
It's the air tonight everywhere in the West Coast. Something to do with the talent, too.
Palmeiro with a mighty cut fouls it off into the on-deck circle where Cal Ripken makes the grab.
I got to believe Terry Collins would like to get Dennis Springer into at least the 8th inning. One guy he has been using outside of James as a closer at times is Rich DeLucia. So they do have DeLucia. They got McElroy in the pen. Lefty, they got Darrell May. But last night they used Harris, James, Holtz, and Darrell May. So he'd like to get about 8 innings out of Dennis Springer tonight.
McElroy there in the center of your screen. Troy Percival pitched last night on rehab at A-ball. 20 pitches, 19 of them fastballs, 14 strikes. There goes Palmeiro. And Dennis Springer has whipped this crowd into a frenzy here in Anaheim. He's got 4 shutout innings. He got Davis swinging. He got Palmeiro swinging, and the Angels still lead. ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by the Coors Light Wide Mouth Can. Tap the Rockies with a smoother pour. You just got to look at Garrett Anderson's home run tonight. He is just one of 3 Angels to homer here in Anaheim this evening. And the other 2 guys, Darren Erstad and Jim Edmonds, are coming up right now. It was 5-0 Baltimore through 2.5 for the Angels, who have overcome 3-run and 5-run deficits to win the last 2 nights. Overcame this one as well, and they lead. And here's Erstad, and a big night for him. Average up to 311. Tough lefty for him here, and Arthur Rhodes, who wriggled out of a jam, stranding a couple last inning.
Be a good matchup right here with Erstad and Edmonds on deck. Both guys are good fastball hitters, and Arthur Rhodes a good fastball pitcher. So Arthur's going to go with his strength. So it's going to be strength against strength this inning.
How did you decide as a manager? You've got young hitters, Erstad, Edmonds, when to leave them in, when they had earned the right to play against tough lefties?
Well, I think with this ball club, if I had this club, I'd do the same thing. When they show that they can be selective, they can stay in there off lefties, like they're doing right now. Erstad working the count a little bit. Then they got some discipline. They show the maturity. You let them play every day. Last year, for example, Darren Bragg comes over to Boston. We put him in the lineup, let him play. Ends up hitting a grand slam off a lefty, Randy Johnson, and did a nice job for the Red Sox. So, you know, you just have to know your personnel and know the personality and the makeup of the guy as well as the ability.
Fouled off, 2-2.
He looked overmatched, and you try to match him up against guys where you think you're going to have success. That's what you do as a manager. Obviously, you know the game, you know the strategy, you know when to bunt, hit, run. But writing the lineup out is the single most important thing a manager can do each night, and bringing his guys off the bench. And there's Garrett Anderson, who hits lefties extremely well. So you try to put your guys in a situation where they're going to have success and not be overmatched, not embarrass themselves. You don't want to do that to your players.
Erstad in just his 2nd year as a big leaguer. Stays on that one, but lifts it in the air to left. Breaking ball from Rhodes. Surhoff underneath it, 1 down. Another left-handed hitter coming up now, and Jim Edmonds, and last time up, he jolted the crowd and gave the Angels the lead they now enjoy. Off Bosky, a long way the other way for his 6th home run of the season. Fun player to watch, too. He went sprawling after that ball on the triple by Tarasco. Didn't get there, but you can see the the dirt on the uniform. He's a fun guy to watch.
He's a scrapper and a fighter. Also a very good first baseman, not just a center fielder. So they've got two guys here at the top of the order that can play first and center. That's highly unusual.
That's a fair ball. Palmeiro to Rhodes covering in time. Right down the line, but judged fair, and Edmonds wants a ruling.
It's where the ball goes over the bag now. It's not where it lands. Once it crosses first base in the air, if it's over the bag fair, it's a fair ball on a grounder. Even though Rafi caught it foul, it crossed the bag in fair territory when it was in the air. Different than a line drive. That was a ground ball.
And Rhodes got over in plenty of time to get Edmonds for the second out. Don't talk about Palmeiro's defense as much as the other guys on that infield, but he plays pretty nice first base.
Well, Rafi had a streak there a couple of years ago where he won over 100 ball games, I believe, without making an error.
Here's Dave Hollins. His average slipping below 300 with an 0 for 3 so far tonight.
Dave's another guy that plays the game hard, goes in, does little things, breaks up a double play as good as anybody I've ever seen when he's on first base. Those little things that to save outs right there are so invaluable. He works the count well. Dave Hollins will also steal a base if you don't pay attention to him. So he brings a lot to this ball club.
Big part of that '93 Phillies team that went to the World Series when they had so many tough, scrappy guys on that club. Nice pitch by Rhodes, and it's 1-2.
Well, Arthur's showing his good 90-mile-an-hour fastball tonight. This one on the inside corner. Excellent pitcher's pitch. Not a whole lot Dave Hollins can do with that. Now, of course, 1-2, he's got to protect. Try to foul that pitch off if you can.
Couldn't do it. Fastball away. He swings through it, and Rhodes looks impressive tonight. 7 complete at the Big A. Angels 6 and the Orioles 5. Ripken's coming up first.
Earlier today, former Mariner Tino Martinez hit a 16. Well, Ken Griffey Jr. didn't enjoy that, so he now has 17. Mariners all over the White Sox, 7-3.
Is this the year the Roger Maris record finally falls?
Really very possible. Griffey in 94 before the strike hit. I thought he was going to break the record. Looks like he's locked in the same way this year.
Cal Ripken's locked in tonight. He homered on the first pitch he saw tonight from Anaheim starter Shigetoshi Hasegawa. Ground ball by the mound out to second. And out at first is Ripken, although the throw from Alicea just about pulled Erstad off the bag.
Well, now the question for Terry Collins on Dennis Springer is, do I try to go all the way with him? He's getting him out. I think so, because he doesn't have his true closer down there, Percival, and James has thrown the last couple of nights and really wasn't all that effective last night. So it'll be the situation of the game now. If they get some base runners, of course, Terry will go depending on who's up there and who's on base. But if he's getting them out, I think he's going to stay with them.
B.J. Surhoff is 2 for 3. He's one of just 2 Orioles with a hit off Springer tonight. Springer's gone 4 1/3 shutout innings and has allowed only hits to Surhoff and Tarasco.
You're at this point of the ball game, you're counting outs. 5 outs to go. That's how you do it on the bench, believe me.
That's dangerous, though, isn't it?
That's the way you have to do it in the American League, especially. Every out is so precious right now.
Surhoff lines one to center. Edmonds right there, 2 down, and now it's 4 outs to go for the Angels.
And when I say counting outs, if you got a closer that you like to bring in the 8th inning, you'll say, well, I'm going to use him for a 4-out save tonight. This is what we're talking about. But they don't have that closer right now to use for a 4-out save. So now you kind of mix and match in your bullpen. That's what Terry Collins has to do.
He has gotten more than he ever could have hoped for from Dennis Springer tonight. It'll be Chris Hoyles with 2 outs, nobody on to the Baltimore 8th. Orioles took 2 out of 3 from the Angels at Camden Yards last week. Angels try to even up the season series, and that just about got Hoyles in the shoulder.
Yeah, that one got away from Dennis Springer a little bit. Ran up and in on Chris Hoyles, almost hit him.
That's a take for the team at 60 miles an hour.
Right. Your natural instincts, though, are to just turn and protect yourself on it. Get away from it.
Ground ball to short. And what a night for Springer as Hoyles is thrown out. Springer gets them in order again. 5 shutout innings for the knuckleballer, and the Angels are 3 outs away. Davy Johnson needs a run at some point in the next 3 outs. Angels due to hit first, bottom of the 8th, leading 6-5 tonight in Anaheim. And there's more great baseball coming your way Sunday night on the ESPN Sunday night game of the week into the National League. The Cardinals against the Braves. Ray Langford hitting the ball well since coming off the DL for St. Louis. And Kenny Lofton has energized the Braves at the top of that order, along with Michael Tucker, who the Braves picked up from Kansas City. Great averages, great speed, and only Atlanta could trade, as the deal's been called, 2 All-Stars for 1 and still come out looking as good as they did.
Grissom and Justice, they return Lofton. He's playing better than both of them last year.
8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, Sunday night. John and Joe, Cards and Braves. There's Tim Salmon to lead off the bottom of the 8th for the Angels. Try to win their 3rd in a row, and all 3 would be big comeback wins as well. Down 5-0 tonight, leading 6-5. You can't fault Arthur Rhodes. He has retired all 5 since coming on.
Curveball right there, back door. Start him off with a strike.
Salmon tonight, 1 for 3. And a single, scored a run. Late on it, fouls it off 0-2. Arthur Rhodes, such an up and down kind of a guy. And Armando Benitez kind of the same way. They've got 2 great arms down there, but Davy Johnson never knows what he's going to get from one night to the next.
Yeah, they've got the potential with these 2 young guys to have a future closer when Randy Myers is no longer here. But right now they have the benefit of Orozco and Myers behind Benitez and Rhodes, so they've got a very, very good bullpen. That's been a very big key to their success.
And they're without Alan Mills, too. It'd be even deeper if he were healthy.
No question. Great fastball from Alan Mills. Has that pinched nerve in his left arm. A collision with Lenny Webster, his catcher. But he should be back within a month.
Rhodes jumps out in front of Salmon, 0-2. Leadoff man here in the 8th, Anderson and Murray to follow. Dennis Springer's got 5 shutout innings for the Angels, but is he done? Rich DeLucia.
Well, that's Mike James now.
Mike James, yeah, it is. Yeah.
With the sideburns, managers go back to what they know best, and they're getting the guys up to protect Dennis Springer. Dennis Springer may be done.
I think that was Mike Holtz, the left-hander, just sneaking out of your picture.
Good night, Jimmy. Terry Collins over there in the Angel dugout, his decision is whether to send Springer back out. We think he may be done. He got some high fives on that bench, so we'll see.
Angels would love an insurance run or 2 here in the bottom of the 8th. Good battle here between Salmon and Rhodes. It's got to be a tough call. Do you go with a 60-mile-an-hour knuckleballer who's gone 5 shutout innings? Do you go with your pseudo closer because James is there until Percival gets back? Do you go with the lefty who's pitched so well in Holtz?
That's where the manager comes into play late in the ballgame. Has to make the big decision because he makes the call on this one. You can get all the input you want from your coaches, but he's got to make the call based on what he knows, what he feels. Sometimes it's a little bit of gut feeling.
Yeah.
Dennis Springer's throwing so well. Of course, the decision's easy if you got Percival in the pen. It's kind of a no-brainer. But right now, James struggled a little bit last night, even though he did get the save. Terry's got to decide that. And I think it looks like he might go to his closer right here, Mike James.
First things first, Angels in the 8th. 3-2 on the way to Salmon. And it's high ball 4. Leadoff man aboard.
Of course, if he gets a couple runs here, it makes the decision a lot easier.
Yeah. First base runner allowed by Arthur Rhodes.
Number 16, left fielder Garrett Anderson.
This type of a game, Davey Johnson sure checking that chart a whole lot. Who does he have? Who does Terry Collins have?
And right now, Brian Williams is up down there in the Baltimore bullpen, down a run. If they were up a run, you'd have your setup guy. Benitez probably up. But being down a run in this situation, the eighth, they've got Brian Williams.
The batter's Garrett Anderson. Great stop at first by Palmeiro, and again Rhodes is over in a hurry to cover the bag.
Mentioned last inning about Rafael Palmeiro. He doesn't get a lot of credit for his defense, and really he doesn't get a lot of credit throughout the whole American League, but people on the field and people in baseball know what he can do. And he's a good defensive first baseman, very good hands, nice feed to Rhodes. You notice that feed there, he gave it to him before Rhodes got to first base, and that's what you got to do so the pitcher's not looking for the ball and the bag at the same time. And he's looking back for the runner. What you got to do is get out of that baseline.
At the end of the play, it looked like Rhodes might have gotten spiked or knocked into it in some way.
Technically, he did everything right there, just like you teach in spring training, but you didn't get out of the baseline because you got a runner coming, so you got to peel off. If you have time, of course, you can cross the bag. If you're even with the runner, you pull off toward the infield side so as not to get spiked, and he didn't do that time.
Conversation with Rhodes with the switch hitter Eddie Murray due to come up, and Davey Johnson has made up his mind. He's headed to the pen. We're headed to a short break, but there's plenty still more to come here in Anaheim. It's 6-5 Angels looking for more in the eighth. Angels are leading by 1 with a runner at second and 1 down in the bottom of the eighth, and Davey Johnson has gone to his bullpen again. Going to turn around Eddie Murray here. Hard-throwing right-hander Brian Williams on in relief. AAA numbers for Williams, who was just recalled on the weekend when the Orioles initially sent down Rocky Coppinger and then revoked it and put him on the DL instead. That got Mike Johnson to start tonight, and also got Brian Williams back to the big leagues.
Yeah, Brian was with Detroit last year where he was 3-10. Tried him in the bullpen last year, tried him as a starter, has a very good arm, throws in the mid-90s, a little bit of movement. Didn't really have good command of his fastball or his curveball, and that's why he went back to the bullpen and then back to the minor league. So minor league numbers are pretty good. If he carries those numbers to the big leagues, he's going to stay a while.
Eddie Murray's had an entertaining night with a big stolen base of third. Not known for his speed, known for his ability with the bat and his longevity. The 6th player in history to play 3,000 games. He'll be 4th by the end of this season. If he stays healthy, he'll pass Cobb and Musial. Rose, Yastrzemski, and Aaron will be the only 3 above him. Remember, if it weren't for the strike, he'd have about 50, 60 more.
Pretty nice company right there. In this matchup right here, Eddie's faced him before. He's 3 for 8, I believe, lifetime off Brian Williams. So this is not a matchup necessarily because of numbers. This is a matchup that Rhodes has done, and he's bringing Brian Williams in to face Eddie.
Murray pops up the first pitch into shallow center, and in comes Brady Anderson to make a one-handed catch for the second out.
Sometimes managers make moves just based on matchups. Maybe Eddie's 0 for 8 lifetime. This wasn't the case. Eddie's 3 for 8 lifetime, and LSA is actually getting 500 off lifetime off of Brian Williams. So Davey just wanted to make the change there.
So we've had a couple of managers here tonight who have not had much time to relax. Each of them saw their starter get in trouble early, and it's been a 1-run game since the 5th. Luis Alicea has a chance to make it a 2-run game if he can come up with a clutch 2-out base hit. You see Tim Salmon leading off second. Look back from Williams, and now to the plate as he busts Alicea up and in.
It's a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. That's the hardest fastball we've seen all night, throwing even harder than Arthur Rhodes. That's what Alicea likes. He likes a fastball, and he can hit a fastball.
Down low, 2-0. Orioles will come up trailing in the ninth. Tarasco, Bordick, and Brady Anderson, the scheduled hitters. Guess you've got the possibility of a pinch hitter for Mike Bordick. Eden Cavilla is on the bench. Jeffrey Hammonds. No left-handed bats, though.
And only 4 guys on the bench, which means with 9 on the field, including the DH, you got 13 regular men, 12 pitchers.
The American League.
American League again coming into play. That extra pitcher or 2.
How many did you carry last year? As Alisea takes
At least 11.
At least 11. Yeah.
I wanted to carry 15 sometimes.
I think 16's about as many as you can carry.
We actually had 28, 29 in spring training, Major League camp, which is highly unusual.
You never have enough pitching.
Never have enough, that's right. Most American League managers now go to at least 11 pitchers and sometimes now 12.
Now, there would be times, say, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you'd occasionally see a 9-man pitching staff, wouldn't you, with a 4-man rotation?
Well, Earl Weaver, back in the 70s, that's what he did with Baltimore. He'd go with 8 or 9 men because in April you have a lot of off days with 4-man rotation. So you didn't need 10 or even 11 pitchers.
2 on, 2 out now.
You go with 9. Times have changed.
George Fabregas goes away out of his strike zone. This guy's in serious need of a base hit. 3 for 37 on the year.
Hit the ball hard twice last night. Once in the gap to left center, the ball was run down, and then one in the right center. He got it for a double. Fabregas did.
Ground ball. And a tough hop. And the play will be made at first. Palmeiro couldn't come up with it cleanly. He may have been spiked by Brian Williams, who did find the ball in time to make the play. So the Orioles just do escape. Get out of the way. Orioles are coming up down 1. Brady Anderson gave the Orioles the lead on the first pitch of this game. One swing of the bat could tie it or give the Orioles the lead here in the ninth. They're down 1. Anderson and Ripken with homers for Baltimore. Erstad, Edmonds, Anderson for the Angels. Shigetoshi Hasegawa did not have any fun out there tonight. But Dennis Springer, 5 shutout innings in relief for the knuckleballer, and guess what? He's out there to start the ninth.
Well, it's a decision we talked about for the last couple innings that Terry Collins has to make, and I think at this point he's made the decision that he had to make. The guy's thrown too well to take him out. He doesn't have Troy Percival in the pen, and he's going to go pretty much hitter to hitter here. I got to believe Mike James and Holtz will be behind him, and he's going to, like we said before, count outs now.
Got to be tempting in some form to stay with Springer all the way because he has been just so good.
Yeah, and if he gets in trouble, though, he's really going to have to go to his pen. If he gets first and third or something like that, or a man on, he may even make a change.
5 innings, just 2 hits allowed by Springer, but he falls behind Tarasco 2-0.
And there's Mike James on the left side. Holtz, of course, waiting on the right side. James will be the first one in there. May not be.
Holtz can probably set his sights on Brady Anderson, who's due up third this inning. 2-1. Also have a pinch hitter in the on-deck circle for the Orioles. Eden Cavilla out, Mike Bordick's spot.
That's why James is getting ready.
You'd almost think with a free swinger like Inky that the knuckleball is the way to go.
Yeah, you'd think so, but if you get one up to him also, he can hit it out.
He loses it. 2-2.
I mean, Inky can hit one out off of anybody, but if you throw that soft knuckler to a power hitter, big right-hand power hitter, he can hit it out. He's not going to let Dennis Springer lose this game, Terry Collins. I don't believe he'll let him lose it. If you want to give your reliever a chance to make a mistake, it's a lesson I tried to learn many years ago managing good reliever. Larry Sherry told me that many years ago with the Dodgers. Always give your closer or your setup man a chance to make a mistake. Don't bring him in and run it first and third.
Popped up, back of the plate, and it will find the seats. up with guys like Incaviglia and Brady Anderson, even with nobody on. A mistake ties the game here. Anderson has already homered once tonight.
And what I mean there, first and third, don't bring your reliever in with nobody out first and third. If you're going to bring him in one hitter too soon, not one hitter too late. Give him a chance to get a ground ball double play should this hitter get on. Of course, if Dennis gets him out, he's going to go, he'll finish it.
The 2-2 to Tarasco. You see funny swings, you see funny foul balls even up. They just do different things up and up.
Yeah, all the little leaguers out there. This is not the guy you want to watch to learn how to hit off of a knuckleballer. I don't mean Tarasco. I just mean these particular pitchers. Knuckleballers are not the guys you want to watch for perfect swings. It will not take a pretty swing to get the job done off a knuckleball.
Ooh, got away.
You just try to make contact if you can.
I'm sure Eric Davis is hoping he's seen the last of Springer. He's had 2 wild strikeouts against him tonight. Ripken trying to tell him. Davis would be due up 5th this inning, but if they get that far, you can be pretty sure Springer won't be on the mound.
Throw a fastball here.
Pop up. And DeSarcina's there, 1 down. Angels 2 outs away. A reminder, Sports Center behind us tonight. Gary Miller and Rich Eisen. Top stories, NBA, Knicks and Heat. Where's Phil Jackson going to land? Will he stay or will he go? And a recap of a busy and a home run-filled night in the major leagues. And it's Inky with the power to tie it.
That's what he's up there to do right now. Try to get a knuckleball up, air it out, get it in the air, and try to hit one out, or at least an extra base hit.
Hitting in the spot of Mike Bordick. There's the home run cut. It's the biggest breeze we've had in the ballpark all night long. And again.
Slow, slower, and slowest. This may be the slowest knuckleball he throws right here to try to strike him out. We'll see.
Ahead 0-2.
It is. 55.
55. How does it even get there?
Yeah, he was going down the ladder on Inky, not the old term up the ladder with the high fastballs as power pitchers do. He was going down the ladder to try to strike him out.
Got him. 2 down. But he's not going to get a chance to finish, it looks like. Brady Anderson's due up. And will Springer go 5 2/3 shutout innings and then be taken out of the game with 2 outs in the 9th? He sure will. And the crowd does not like this, to say the least. He could still win it, but the lefty's coming on to try and pick up the save. You got to feel a little bit for Pete Incaviglia. The Angels are an out away after Incaviglia pinch hitting goes down on 3 massive cuts against Dennis Springer. He got his money's worth, but he wasn't close. Springer goes 5 2/3 shutout innings, 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, but will not get a chance for the save. The Angels have struggled without Troy Percival to finish games. Mike Holtz is on for one thing. If he can get the left-handed hitting Brady Anderson, he can lock up the save and get Dennis Springer a much-deserved win.
Well, this is where the manager makes his money, making this decision to take Dennis Springer out in this situation. Because, of course, he got booed, and you can't manage for the crowd. You can't manage for the press. You have to make those decisions based on baseball knowledge. And Terry Collins felt that this is the right matchup. Other people may disagree, and that's their right.
Mike Holtz has been outstanding. Look at the numbers on him.
Brady is a much better hitter against right-handers normally than lefties, but he's still capable of hitting one out against anybody.
Big breaking ball for a strike. What a night for Springer in relief of Hasegawa.
And Collins was not going to let Dennis Springer lose this game. That's for sure, and he didn't. He also didn't let him finish the game. But he did his job.
Just outside. Holtz thought he had both corners on back-to-back pitches.
Now is where you get second guess, though, as a manager, if you did the right thing or not. So if this guy gets on, if Brady gets on, you got Alomar on deck, and then what do you do? Switch hitting Robbie Alomar.
Alomar told me before the game he's having trouble hitting right-handed because of the sprained left ankle. And the numbers reflect that this year. He's hitting much better from the left side. He would face Holtz from the right side.
Yeah, and Robbie normally is a better left-handed hitter anyway, so you do want to turn Robbie around. That's why Collins went with this right now.
Great stop. Will there be a play at the bag? No, it's safe. Brady Anderson beat it down the line.
There's a left-handed hitter getting out of the box fast. If he's right-handed, of course, he's out. Alicea makes a nice play going to his left. Has always had good range going to his left. And it took a little bit of time getting rid of it. Took a little bit of time getting rid of it. I think it was just enough to let Brady score right there, but he had to let the first baseman get to the bag also. Now the winning run comes to the plate, and a base stealer on first base.
Terry Collins was on the far side of the field. The Angels in the third base dugout. But he is sure arguing like a man who thinks he saw what he saw. But Anderson is safe. Let's take a couple of looks.
Here's Alicea making a great play ranging to his left. Now he has to wait for the first baseman to get to the bag. I think they got the play right. I think he was safe. Brady from the other side. Well, that's the umpire's call. It's a judgment call. Whoa. Different angle.
But you know what? If you can take 3 looks at it on replay and still not be sure, you can't fault an umpire either way.
That last one, that's right. That last one looked like he might have been out. The first 2 looked like he was safe.
Here's Alomar hitting from the right side, where this year he is just a .220 hitter. From the left side, he's at .323. He loses 100 points this way. He is the go-ahead run. Anderson at first is the tying run. And Alomar looks like he's going to stand there until he sees a strike.
The only thing that happens here when you take Springer out and you bring the lefty in here is the lefty has not been in the flow of the game. Springer had the flow of the game, had the momentum, got the 2 outs. The worst Anderson could do was tie the game if he hit a home run. So that's probably why he leaves Springer in right there. But again, that's Terry Collins' decision. He made it. You got to stick with it and live with it no matter what happens right here.
He heard about it the instant he took Springer out as the crowd booed him on his way to the mound and then gave Springer a standing ovation. Now it's Holtz against Alomar, 2-1. The Angels an out away from a 3-game winning streak. 2-2. Now a strike away. Not a lot he can do sitting there.
Well, he did his job. He may have earned himself a start.
Came on for Hasegawa, who struggled. Springer looking for his first win of the year. Holtz looking for his first save. And the crowd on its feet here in Anaheim.
Okay.
Strike 3 called, and they'll win it.
Well, that was a backdoor slider right there, or a curveball that paralyzed Alomar, got him looking, and Terry Collins made the right choice. Here's the pitch. Little backdoor breaking ball in the outside corner that dips over the middle of the plate. Looked like a ball, but the sharp break brought it back over the middle. Alomar took it for strike 3, ended the ball game. And Dennis Springer, the big story tonight, did his job.
Sunday night, the Cardinals and the Braves at 8 Eastern. John and Joe will be there for all the exciting action. Don't forget, stay tuned right now. Sports Center is coming up next year on ESPN. The final score from Anaheim, the Angels 6 and the Orioles 5. For Kevin Kennedy and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dan Schulman. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Thanks for watching tonight as the Angels hang on to beat the Orioles. Sports Center is next.